All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible systems that bring some kind of order to our digital chaos. You use them every single second you're online, but you've probably never actually seen them. So let's get started.
Think about this for a second. You type a couple of letters into your phone and boom, there's the contact you were looking for. We all just take it for granted, but have you ever really stopped to wonder how that happens? How does your phone sift through a giant digital haystack and find that one specific needle in like less than a second?
So you might be thinking, well, it's just a really fast processor, right? But that's not the whole story, not even close. The real secret is something much more clever. It's all about smart organization. See, the magic isn't in how fast you search, but in how well everything was stored in the first place.
And that brings us to a really, really big problem. Without some kind of system, all the data we're creating, our contacts, photos, emails, you name it, it would just be a giant, useless pile of digital junk. It's not enough to just have the data, you've got to have a way to make sense of it all.
This is where programmers really work their magic. They use something called data structures, and you can think of them as these specialized digital filing cabinets. Each one is designed for a very specific kind of data and a very specific job. They are the master blueprints for organizing information.
So let's actually open up the programmer's toolkit. We're going to focus on a programming language called Python because it has some incredibly powerful built-in organizers that get used every single day to build the apps that we all rely on.
First up, we've got the list. And honestly, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a simple, ordered lineup of items. Think of a to-do list or the songs in your favorite playlist. The order really matters, and you can easily add stuff, take things away, or just change their position. Simple.
Next up is the dictionary. And let me tell you, this one is a total game changer for looking things up. Instead of storing items in a specific order, it links a unique key directly to a value. It's just like a real dictionary where you look up a word to find its definition. Here, you use a key to instantly find whatever information is tied to it. And this little bit of code shows you exactly how it works. You have that unique key, right, like the word brand, and it points directly to its value, Merced. So the code just asks, hey, what's the value for brand? And it gets the answer instantly. No searching through a long list necessary. You just use the key.
Then we've got sets. Now, the superpower of a set is all about one thing, uniqueness. If you try to add an item that's already in there, it just ignores it. No duplicates allowed, ever. And this is incredibly useful for things like, say, finding out how many unique visitors came to a website.
Okay, so let's see how these things actually get built. Imagine you wanted a list of the first 10 square numbers. The traditional way is to write a loop, like this one. It's basically telling the computer, hey, start with an empty list. Now for every number from 0 to 9, square it, and then stick the result into my list. And yeah, it works perfectly fine.
But this is where Python gets really elegant. There's a much cleaner way to do this, and it's called a list comprehension. It does a similar thing, but all in one, single, super readable line. This code is basically saying, make me a list of pairs with a number and its square for every number from 0 to 5. It's concise, it's efficient, and it's just a fantastic example of smart design.
So why do we even have all these different options? Why does it matter so much? Well, because choosing the right tool for the job is absolutely critical. This table here compares a flexible Python list with a more rigid structure called an array. Now, an array is like a container where everything has to be the same type and size. So if you look at point 5, you'll see arrays are way more memory efficient. But then look at point 1. Lists are way more flexible. A programmer has to weigh these trade-offs all the time, and their choice directly impacts how fast your app runs and how much memory it eats up. But simple lists and dictionaries, they can't handle everything. Sometimes data is more complex. It has layers, it has hierarchies, it has complex relationships. And for that, programmers need something a bit more sophisticated.
And the funny thing is, you interact with these more complex structures all the time without even realizing it. I mean, think about the way you have files and folders on your computer. You have a main drive and folders inside that, and more folders inside those. Well, that's a tree structure. So in computer science, a tree looks a lot like this diagram. It starts at one single point at the top. We call that the root. And then it just branches out. Each of those branches can lead to more branches, which creates this really clear hierarchy. This is totally fundamental for things like mapping out a social network or an AI thinking through all the possible moves in a chess game.
And what's really cool about this whole concept is the language we use to talk about it. It's not some weird complex jargon.
We literally borrow words straight from a family tree. You have a parent node that's connected to child nodes. And nodes that have the same parent? Well, they're siblings. It's super intuitive, which makes it way easier for people to work with these complex systems. And a leaf node is just a spot where a branch comes to an end.
So after all that, you might be thinking, okay, that's kind of interesting, but why should any of this matter to me? Why should I care about lists or dictionaries or trees if I'm not a coder?
Well, because it all boils down to this, that choice a programmer makes between a list and a dictionary, or between a simple list and a complex tree. That is the difference between an app that feels instantaneous and one that feels slow and clunky. It's the difference between your GPS finding a route in a second or leaving you waiting. These choices matter.
So at the end of the day, these data structures are really the unseen foundation of all our technology. They're the silent, efficient organizers working tirelessly behind the scenes of just about every digital thing you do. They truly are the invisible architects of your digital world.
So we've kind of seen how this smart organization can tame this massive, complex digital universe. Now that you can see this invisible architecture at work, I'll just leave you with one final question to think about. Where else in our world could a better organizational system make all the difference?